VIP of Bizarre Interest Productions, February, oh god, it's March, isn't it? Is a season of love, fun, romance, dark-skinned people, and oddly enough, Beyblade. Okay, Beyblade had always been popular, but in terms of getting regular people into it, it seems like a lot more people are getting back into the anime and the franchise. We had the metal hype with a bit of burst, X is ongoing, and given that last month was the month of love and romance, and I was sick when I had this planned out, I thought we'd just have a little bit of fun and talk about romance. Now, let's get a few things out of the way. Beyblade is a kids franchise with some mature elements, so when we're talking about romance and shipping, this is ultimately meant to be fun, harmless, and not involve anything pervertive. We're talking about characters aged 12 to 19 after all, but that's not to say people don't have romantic feelings at that age. Still, with the rise of Beyblade X's anime encouraging a certain ship that everyone, even its detractors at worst, can understand where people are coming from, I think it'd be fun to look back. What are 10 potential romantic ships that actually could have become canon to their actual series? Now, unfortunately, I have a few stipulations. While I'm far from homophobic, and homophobic Beyblade fans in a franchise where the males outnumber the women so much, in some cultures the fan base is joked as gay blade, comes off pretty ironic. It actually didn't put any yaoi or yuri ships. Japanese media is actually pretty LGBTQ friendly, but Japanese people itself, let's just say that the civilians are more accepting than the politicians. There's technically 3 I considered to put on the list, but I ultimately chose against. So let's go with the obvious of these 3 honorable mentions I could consider. First up is Benkei and Kyoya. Yeah, Benkei was obsessed with Kyoya to the point of hero worship. We never exactly found out how he managed to become the substitute of Wild Fang, but the fact that he traveled from Japan to Africa and Kyoya was practically fine with it, plus Benkei being sad when Kyoya left the first time, and Kyoya basically acknowledged him as a friend at best, but it's possible something could happen between them. Then there's Eksu and Chrome. Yeah, there's a good reason I didn't pick this. Everyone's joked about how Chrome treats X like the former left him and broke his heart. The shock on his face when he was told Eksu only likes sushi and Beyblading. The fact the anime had a whole episode to feeling like he wanted to become one with Eksu. Replicating his movements as a blader, and manifesting Eksu's aura on top of the "we've become one" moments. Meanwhile, Eksu's just friend-zoning him several times. I mean, I could see something if Eksu realizes how much Chrome has been hurting on the inside, but it depends on what happens for the rest of the series. Finally, there's Uni and Multi, which is funny because technically they have gone out on a date after the Queen battle. Multi is the one who helped Uni remember she genuinely enjoyed Beyblade beyond just doing it for popularity. Uni practically falls head over heels for her, always participates in whatever trend she's doing, especially in the Shuffle Battle Fest. Multi ends up being the one to calm her down the most in situations. And out of the 3 honorable mentions, it's possible something could happen, and just like the other 2, I wouldn't be mad about it. Also, if you made it this far into the video, type Rainbird in the comment section so I know you got this far and to thank the inspiration behind this video. But enough with the honorable mentions, let's get straight to the list. We're going in order of series, not a ranking, so let's get into it. First up, let's go with the couple who actually became canon in the manga, Rei and Mao, or Rei and Mariah. The ship is easily the one people cannot debate at all. In the original Japanese, after their match ends, Mao regrets never telling Rei she was in love with him. She ends up confessing despite knowing Rei will continue his journey. However, Rei promises he will return to her. The dub focuses on their friendship over their romance, though it's because of those feelings she tries to stop Kenny's manipulations before their match in the tournaments. Hell, in the manga's ending, Mariah has married Rei and they have a daughter together. That's crazy, there's an actual canon ship, and it's pretty cool that it happened. Next up is the ship that's basically what people would call the basic protagonist and only girl in the main cast ship, Tyson and Hillary, or Takao and Hiromi. These 2 hated each other at the start of V-Force because he was basically the delinquent to her school status, while she was a stuck-up know-it-all who would dismiss Beyblade as an entire sport. But she got the class to make him clean up the rest of the classroom, and the Saint Shields over time, plus the other conflicts, caused her attitude to shift differently. She blushes at her promise to save her and Kenny to save the 2 of them in episode 4. She starts showing consideration and respect for blading after Tyson's fight with Ozuma. Plus, she starts trying to help out more, gives Tyson ideas, and starts showing genuine concern for him. There's also the fact that Tyson and Kenny became the first friends she felt were closest to, despite being the president of the entire classroom. At one point, she even thinks maybe he likes me after all. There's definitely possibilities they could have been canon, especially since Tyson has a kid in the manga. So we have to, well, do it with someone. Now, third is a ship for the bespectacled, Kenny and Koju and Emily. Yeah, a lot of people were expecting Kenny and Ming Ming for this list, but in terms of ship that actually have a high chance of being canon, I have to look at things realistically, like which one made more sense? Like, Ming Ming just saw Kenny as another fan, and Kenny was such a fanboy, I'm not exactly sure these two actually had a proper conversation. Meanwhile, he and Emily made way more sense and had more interactions. Kenny developed a crush on her mainly to her intelligence, plus Emily's been kind to him before. Back in episode 50, she teased him when the old Emily never acted like that, while trusting him with Dragoon's data. Then in G-Revolution, Kenny, Emily, and Miguel ended up spending extensive time working on the hard metal system together, and after the training camp proves to be a success, he's the one who grabs Emily's hand and cheers before realizing that and getting completely embarrassed, while she's like, I don't have a problem, like, we're happy, let's just be happy together right now. Again, this is about canon relationships, ones that make sense or could be believable in the show's lore, and I feel like this one has some legs to stand on. Plus, it's Kenny and Emily. Kenny is best boy, and he and Emily deserve each other. Switching to V-Force, let's go with the obvious one people are begging me to bring up. Max and Mariam. Okay, yeah, there was some flirting between the two of them. Even Ryunosuke points out Max finally found a girl that was interested in him in episode 13 of V-Force. She jokes around him a lot, calls him rather cute, and the dub has her call him a teddy bear. There's also the fact that she saved Dracil from one of Dr. K's bladers. And later on in episode 36, Mariam and Max spend a lot of time trying to escape a collapsed building. Plus, she torn between her duty to work with the village and the Saint Shields and team by getting close to him. There's also the fact that they're the first people to fight a fair and square battle towards the final conflict between the Saint Shields and the Blade Breakers at the end of V-Force. In terms of enemies to lovers, Max and Mariam have the closest vibes to that, which is why so many people think that they would be a canon couple. And based on the fact they actually do care about each other a lot, I could see it becoming canon. Afterwards, there's Kane and Salima. These two traveled for over a year together. She's been worried about him and usually takes his side on the same opinions compared to Goki and Jim. When it came to the Blade Breakers, both of them differed on how to handle the Blade Breakers. Kane didn't want to fight and risk losing control of the Bit Beast, while Salima wanted them to forfeit under better circumstances. She and Kane trusted each other, and let's be honest, if someone you had feelings for smacked you with a mythical cyber spirit to knock you away and they still cared about you, that goes far beyond the friendship, and that's why I included them on this list. Our sixth potential couple goes to Gingka and Madoka. Now, I used to think people were joking about it to the point people would fake videos of them kissing. Yeah, I'm still kind of miffed about that. But throughout the Metal Saga, they've had quite a few moments throughout the series. Gingka acknowledged her as a strong blader, and he always treats her as an equal no matter what. She's always prioritized Jinga's well-being. They've held hands in gratitude after she repaired his Pegasus, resulting in him basically thanking her as best as she can. And there's also the fact that he saved her from numerous traps and also captures her mid-battle during the Rocco incidents. So yeah, main character and main girl ship, but I can see it being canon. Alright, let's get to ship number 7, which would be Madoka and Aleksei. Now, personally, I like the ship enough. Aleksei and Madoka get along right from the jump. He's clearly intelligent, and she matches his energy in terms of science and blading. He does have regrets about cheating, and Madoka was genuinely upset at his behavior. But they were able to make up after the fight, so it's definitely possible these two could actually become a couple in the actual show. Then again, that's what happens when you're one of the few active female characters in Metal. You get shipped with everyone at some points. Seriously, Madoka might have the most ships tied with Gingka. Speaking of which, let's shift to our number 8 entry, and that's Free and Kris. These two have basically been childhood friends, but Kris is honestly the only character Free consistently listens to, besides maybe Vault. She took it just as hard as Vault did when Free left BC Soul. He still trusted her to lead the team in his absence, and she knows the most about him. Heck, you could see Free leaving as him wanting Kris to not be codependent, and prove she could actually stand up to him as an equal. Plus, when he returns, she welcomes him with open arms, and when everyone's searching for him, she lets him hide in his office. Plus, at the semifinals, Kris is able to get him to forfeit without imploding his arm since he couldn't use it anymore. Had that been anyone else, I don't think they would have been able to convince him to forfeit the match. After them are the penultimate choice, Belle and Pri. Personally, when Quad Strike was being revealed, I was interested to see how they would handle Pri as a deuteragonist. And let's be real, she is the protagonist of Season 7. But her dynamic with Belle actually ended up working out with her character development a lot. He gets her to be more independent. They end up making a combination joint special move together. She also takes Belle's preparing for victory line, becomes more confident and independent thanks to his influence, and starts to realize Pac's controlling behavior. There's also the fact Belle lent Pri his new launcher and cheered for her battle against Valls. Granted, he did it while pretending he's cheering for his tech, but he managed to cheer her up after her loss to the point where she was blushing. Even if she won't admit it, there's definitely signs since out of Belle's friends and rivals, she's the one moved by him the most. Now for the final choice, and the one that inspired this entire video, Bird or Robin in a dub, and Multi. And honestly, can you blame anyone in the Beyblade community for shipping them? Now in the manga, this is when you can kinda see, but most people feel Multi is too hard on Bird in there. The anime, on the other hand, holy crud, there's a lot. There's the fact that Bird makes dinner for her while she works on his new Beyblade. And with the anime revealing Multi made Hell Scythe originally for her sister, that means Bird's basically inheriting the dream she had for Shigeru. There's also the fact that she's the one commenting on his growth the most, like during their house clash, she gave him credit for improving. Afterwards, there's the Pakun incident where she promised to crush Pakun for what he did to Bird with the cheating. And we have Multi thanking Bird for what happened. Then in Season 2, during episode 58, Multi calls him My Dear Bird, doing her Sherlock persona to explain how she figured out Shelton's and Emma working together. And after Multi leaves the team temporarily, Tenka teases Bird for acting like a maiden in love. Even on YouTube, they're considered the only Beyblade ship that works, and that's why they're the current and final spot on this list. And that's it. Hope you all have a great day and have a happy February. Wait, that's supposed to be March now. And month, week, day, or love. And remember, the person you love besides Beyblade is the most of yourself. Wait. And remember, the person to love besides Beyblade the most is yourself. Thank you for wasting your time on my channel. And this is BIP Bizarre Interest Productions signing off. And sorry for not uploading anything in a while. Fighting sicknesses has not been easy.